right, welcome everyone. This is our week on defining, and it's the affinity mapping and problem statements week. We're going to spend most of our time on affinity mapping, which is, I think it's a lot of fun. It starts to go through your different interview questions and whatnot and make sense of some of the stuff that you've gathered. But before we do that, I want to do our quick little, and I know not very many people are here yet, the 20-second challenge. But let's hold off on that. How is everybody? I know we had a day off and it's been a while. How you doing, Ashley? How's life?
Life is lifing. I'm good. I'm good. I'm making it work. So
did you have to work?
No, I didn't have to work yesterday, but that just means I had to work on other things that I can't do while the business is operating. So that was a quiet day of working.
Just planning day. Got it.
How are all your goals going, Ashley? I know you had a few different things you're working on.
It's going well. I did my numbers, so that helped me understand a lot more about my business, and I'm doing pretty good with them. And I'm really starting, I guess, when I started doing the interview process with a couple, I only did a couple, but it started kind of like allowing me to pop out ideas about marketing and like branding information based on the things that we already contribute and add as a value. But sometimes they just may not know as extensively as they should, so that they can know. I have to basically give them the value of their book so that they understand what they're actually paying for. So with what everybody was telling me, it made a lot of sense as why I needed to have a persona and how I can actually utilize this to really build a strong foundation for my business. So
yeah, and I think that once you start those interviews, it really does help you build out the persona even more. And you start to understand, because at first you're kind of just guessing. You're like, okay, well, I've had interactions with these people over time. But then when you ask those specific questions and you just sit back and listen to them, you learn new things that you can throw into those personas. And I don't know, I think that's great to hear. Reynard, how are you doing? How's your weekend? How's your business?
All is well. I won't complain. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. So, do you have a chance to do any interviews? How did that go?
I did like 3. I didn't do a whole deep dive.
Okay.
But I mean, it went
All
okay.
right, so you have some stuff for us to play with today and work with?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Skylar, you had a big week. Congratulations on your successful defense.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Very proud of you. I wanted to see, did you have a chance to do any interviews yet, or were you
I did
really
get to
busy with
interview.
everything?
I have been very busy, but I was able to interview a couple of my classmates. So I interviewed 3 people, and they actually I found out that one of them actually chews caffeinated gum. And she was like, I would definitely actually purchase your product. And I was like, but would you pay more? She's like, oh, for sure. I'd pay more if it was like natural. And so like, it gave me more information than I actually thought I would get, which I found extremely helpful. And I read over your notes that you sent over, or like from the grades from the program. And I think that what you sent, I'll definitely incorporate into my next couple of interviews too. So thank you for those.
Great. Of course. And as a general note for everyone, I went through, gave a lot of feedback, and if your grade was low, it's not anything terrible. It's simply just a little push to maybe add some more information or to incorporate or just maybe think about it differently. So don't take it as anything more than just an encouraging, push in a direction that will help you get even better with what you're trying to accomplish. I also wanted to mention that some of you have been doing it, almost all of you have been doing an awesome job at sending your assignments at the end of class. That's great, but what we're spotty on. Some of you are doing a really good job of submitting your assignments that are final each week, and some of you are not. And so I've asked RJ to kind of reach out to people. And so I know she's doing that. If you have any questions about the site or anything like that, RJ can help you. I also, if I find that because I spend a lot of time on thinking through my responses for your assignments. So if I feel like I'm spending more time thinking through the review than you put into the assignment itself, I might not grade it. I might kick it back to you and say it's incomplete, because I really want you guys to spend that time and really think through it and really put the effort into it. If I'm going to put the effort into the review, I want you to put the effort into the assignment. So there's only a couple that I felt like could have some more in there that I might kick back. But overall, I think you guys are doing a great job. How are you guys feeling about the assignments, about the feedback? How's that going?
I actually find them really helpful. I at first didn't necessarily think that they would be as useful as I initially thought going into it. But when I started talking with more people, even from UF Innovate or just other like business people, and I was telling them about some of the things that I was trying to like do from these assignments, they were like, oh, I wish I would have done that in the beginning. That would have been really helpful. So it's kind of really making me take it more seriously, I guess, if that makes sense. Which is good support, because like I was taking it seriously, but it's like really like, hey, you should really, really take it seriously. And I'm like, okay, that's a good structure. So thank you.
Of course. Yeah. As I think I said in the beginning, Wanda's an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. Sean's an entrepreneur. And so is RJ. So we're not asking you to do things that we think will waste your time. We're asking you to do things that we think will actually like save you time in the future. So one of the things that I did say, I'm going to skip ahead a slide, in some of the feedback was about really diving deeper into the problem, because it comes back up for pitches. And so I wanted to just share a couple of these. I'm going to put them in the chat. They're like 1-minute pitches, but you'll see how they kind of very quickly connect you with the problem. And okay, so here's the first one. Everybody watch that one and then let me know when you're done. You don't have to watch the whole thing, just the first 30 seconds.
It's a cold night here at this football game. After the first quarter, you realize these bleachers are so cold, my butt.
All right, did you guys make it through the first 30 seconds? Who felt like a connection when he said that? Who feels like they've been in that situation where they're sitting there, it's cold? Anybody? Am I the only one who's been
Yes.
in a cold
Yes, I
stadium?
have.
you, Skylar. And then here's another one, and this one is kind of has a statistic with it and a story. So you don't have to watch the whole thing, just the first little bit where he talks about the problem. All right. Did you guys hear the problem part of it? You don't have to watch the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay. So that's an example of one that brings in a statistic. Thank you, Reynard. I appreciate the feedback. It brings in a statistic and it brings in like his personal experience of how terrifying it was. And so at the beginning of your pitch, which will be the final thing that you're going to be doing for this project, or for this program, you will also have to come up with a way to engage your audience. And I know that some of you had goals of creating that investor pitch deck and getting money. This is an important part of what you're doing, of your pitch, is really presenting that problem in a way that connects with people and makes them want to care. So with that, I'm going to go around the room and we're going to do our thing that we've done before, but this time we're cutting it down to 20 seconds. RJ, do you mind being our timer again?
Happy to.
All right, thank you. All right, so Linda, I know you've been working hard. You want to go try it first? Oh, I muted you earlier because I could hear your YouTube, so you've got to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I've been a little bit off track here, but you're looking for my problem and how I was going to solve it. And I'm trying.
The business is trying to solve and who you're trying to solve it for. You don't have to say your solution, just state the problem.
Okay, my name is Linda Lipton, and there is a problem with a lot of houses being destroyed in big storms due to flooding and wind damage and water intrusion. And I would like to try to offer some plans for foundations that will raise the home up off the water so that a lot of that problem can be avoided.
29,
All right, RJ, how'd we do it?
29 seconds.
29. Linda, you're going up. Last week you were less than that, but it was a good effort. All right. Ashley, you're next on my screen.
Ready? Okay. The problem that I'm going to solve is decreasing the longer waiting list for quality childcare by expanding my childcare center and also helping solve the barrier of family involvement by incorporating technology in our classrooms and meeting the total need of every childcare family.
All right, good job. RJ, what do we get?
17 seconds.
Nice, Ashley. Okay, Reynard, are you ready?
For an elevator pitch? No.
Give it a whirl. Just try.
Just focus on the problem.
Pardon me?
Just focus on the problem that you're looking to solve.
Come back to me. I'm not ready.
All
I
right.
will
All
be.
right, I'm coming back.
My apologies. All right.
No worries. Skylar, you're up.
If it's not just like, okay, I'm gonna do it and then let me know if I did it wrong.
Ready?
Hi, yes, sorry. Hi,
Sorry.
my name is Skylar Moreno, and I created Synapse, an all-natural chewing gum consisting of focus-enhancing nootropics for people who want to limit or have zero caffeine while saving the planet one piece of gum at a time.
Was that it?
So-
Yeah.
Yes, that was it, but I don't know if that was like too much of selling and not the problem.
So it was a little solution oriented, but it's okay. It's an elevator pitch and you made it in time. And so I think you incorporated some big pieces in there of like your value proposition. So I'm good with it. I feel like I know the problem you're trying to solve
Okay.
in there. So yeah.
13.
All right. Guitar.
Hello, sorry, it was a little funky with my getting off the mute. Okay, so ready, go. Jatara Mason, I'm trying to solve the problem that I've noticed with people having access to affordable, quality individual and group therapy through virtual access with affordable rates based on the client need.
All right. Nicely
16
done.
seconds.
RJ,
16 seconds.
how much?
16.
Aha. Nice. Elizabeth, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Okay, ready? Start. Hi, my name is Elizabeth People, and I am creating a space for nonprofit leaders who want to learn how to start and sustain their business, their organizations on their own through my Focus Your Nonprofit series.
10
RJ?
seconds.
I loved that one, Elizabeth. I got so much information in there in such a little amount of time. That was great. Diana, you're up.
I don't know if she can talk.
I think
She's still
Diana might not
working.
be, might just listening for a little while right now. So that's fine. All right. So I'm
Let
gonna
me try
apologize in
again.
advance.
Oh, let's not forget Raynor.
Sure, let's
Absolutely.
not
We'd love
forget
to have you
me.
go. ahead.
Raynard, I am Raynard, owner of Univirtual, incorporating physical training and leisure activities in a augmented way for all athletes. Sorry. It'll get better. My apologies.
That was a good first go. I'm proud of you just for doing it this time. I know you held back in the past, so that was awesome. And it was short. And RJ,
12
how many,
seconds.
what was this time?
12 seconds.
Nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So today I'm going to apologize in advance because there's going to be a section where I'm going to be talking a whole bunch and then it'll be interactive towards the end. So as I'm talking, just kind of bear with me. We are moving into the define stage. We did this a little bit with our user persona, but the define stage is the next stage after empathy. And it really helps us narrow in on what the problem actually is. So it's rather than we're using the information that we've learned from empathy, the empathy stage, and we're taking that, and rather than what we walked into thinking that the problem was, we are now informed through interviews and whatnot as to what the problem is based on listening and that empathy And now we're really, we're going to start to define it. So we're going to start to organize your interview information and really synthesize it and get some good information out of it. So really quickly, I know some of you had a chance to do a few interviews. Did everyone, and this is not to call anyone out, but this is just simply so I can help figure out the flow of the day. Did everyone get a chance to do some interviews? Like at least 3 interviews. So Ashley, that's a yes. Reynard, you said you did a couple interviews or a few interviews. But not a deep dive, right? Okay. Elizabeth, great. Jatara, you didn't have a chance to. Okay. Diana, Linda, did you get it? Did you?
I was more talking to people that I knew and introducing my just talking to them, asking questions, trying my questions out on people that I knew, and still doing research about who I need to talk to. It's most important, and I didn't do.
I think that's
one.
Yeah, no, and we wanted you to try it out on the people that you are close to. You know, that's an important piece of it, and that really helps you understand the quality of your questions and what kinds of responses you get back. So that's wonderful. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to go into how many people still need to kind of do some work on their questions and reframe them, or send out scheduling emails for interviews, and how many people are ready to start organizing some of your data?
So for me, I'm still having issues with like the questioning side of things. I think I talked with Jatara a little bit earlier, just to try to like make sure that I wasn't asking, because it's like I'm asking them scenarios and stories to find out their experience with childcare, but I just don't want to be leading with those questions like, well, did you have any bad experiences or anything like that? I just want them to kind of like, I just want to explore what they've experienced in childcare, correct? Just to try to make sure I'm getting this right.
Yeah, so I think that you can say something like, tell me like your favorite experience with childcare, and tell me about what happened. Tell me a bad experience and what happened. And that kind of information is going to get them to tell you pieces of what they need and what happened to them in the past. When we say leading, we don't want to lead them to your solution. So if they say, I felt disconnected from my kids and I didn't know what was going on and it was really frustrating, and you go, well, would a tablet in the classroom help you? Like feel more connected, a tablet in each room? That's going to be a leading question, and that's going to get them going on the solution that you're trying, rather than listening to them and really understanding their problem. There will be a time where we are going to create some low fidelity prototypes, and we'll interview our customers again, and they'll walk through the process. They'll walk through our solution. So they'll have a chance to give you some feedback on the solution. But at this stage, these interviews, you should not be mentioning what your solution is. You should be purely sticking to the problem and really understanding what's going on with them. Did that help, Ashley?
Yes, because I had questions when I started interviewing, but then it was like I didn't want to get so tied up in my question till I lost the actual interviewee. So I just let them talk, and I just wrote notes as they talk and what they talked about as they were telling me about their experience and how many children and what ages did they bring their children in, and well, would you prefer like childcare over daycare? Because she did both the home daycare and she did a childcare center. So I just asked her questions like that. What made you lean more towards the childcare center versus the home? And then I have like a page full of notes just from one person. So I think that's why I was
Ashley?
asking.
Yeah, it sounds like you are doing 100% exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, okay.
Like hearing that, I'm like, those are great questions. You weren't like going, you weren't forcing the script and like cutting people off. It sounds like you were letting them like tell their stories and letting them get into it. And then, yeah, you're going to have this like big page of notes for each person. And that's why today we're going to talk through how to really organize that. So no, but I think from what I heard, you're doing an awesome job. Sean, did you have something to add?
And I was just going to say, one of the things like for the salesy side is, we're always trying to find what people's pain is. So it's basically like the emergency room scenario. So what is that pain that we can solve? So you're asking some of those questions that weren't leading, but at the same time, we want to extract the number, the frequency, the type of pain points that their current and previous providers of childcare services, did they cause you to lose a job? Was the scheduling, those type of different things. We want to find out all the spots that are pain, because you want to be the emergency room that has that quick, fast, efficient solution that their pain goes away. So it's not that you're not sort of putting them in a hostage video, right? But the thing is, at the same time, like, we want to get to the rawest part of why people make decisions. Lots of people do pleasantries, like you're not trying to interrogate them, but it also, it's not going to be mean, but it may need to be, I don't even want to say rough, but the thing is, it has to be very direct, right? And let them then embellish and talk about more what they are, but try to really get to what the people's true pain is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think you want to uncover that pain point. You want to discover what's not working with their current solution and why, because you want to see if there's a market opportunity for you, and you want to create that best solution that's not out there yet. So that's really what we're listening for. We're listening for what can we do better? How can we help these people? But to know that, you have to listen to what's wrong now. What's the problem now? What are you facing? Like, what are the components of that? And you'll really learn a lot. The other thing I wanted to mention with the user personas, as you guys are doing those, because I know not everyone's turned them in yet, I want you to really weave in that problem into your persona. So, Ashley, your person should have a kid. They should, ideally, and they should have some sort of life situation where you're showing in your persona that makes them need childcare, right? Like, you're not going to build a persona about a mom who she doesn't ever want to let her kids leave the house, and she's home all the time, and she's got plenty of money, and she's that she doesn't have the problem. You're wanting to find, does that help?
Yeah, unless I'm doing a virtual school.
Okay.
But no, but yeah, it does help me. And at the end, once I started asking her those questions, how I kind of wrapped it up was, tell me what would be your ideal childcare center, so that I could hear some of the things that she's looking for because of some of her experiences. Because at first she was like, oh, it was good. I had a great experience. And I was like, well, tell me about a story, and I just went into the story thing about a great experience. And she told me that. And then we got into the nitty gritty when she said that, she took them out because someone ended up getting salmonella or something. And then I'm just like listening. And that's when I asked her, I was like, okay, so I got enough notes So tell me a little bit about what that ideal center looks like for you. Because she was one of, actually, she fit one of the criteria of my persona. So it was good just to hear from her, because she's someone who is a businesswoman, married, because I actually have 3 personas. I don't know if that's okay. Or if it
That's
was
fine. I wouldn't do that, and I would have them all represent kind of a unique customer segment. So like we talked about, maybe doing parents, grandparents, or like parents with 2 different kinds of situations, so, but have them be unique in their kind of needs.
Okay.
So that, yeah, so
Okay.
that we can like ask them when we move forward with your solutions, how they feel about it.
Okay.
Obviously, you're not going to ask them, but you want to like make sure that you're building your solutions around your personas, and that those personas represent your core customers.
Okay.
All right. So what I was thinking we could do is, does anyone else have questions about their questions and about the interviews? Anybody? Because what I'd like to do is I'd like to give everyone 10 minutes to either use it to schedule more interviews, refine your questions, or start organizing your notes. Just getting everything in one place, looking at it, writing it down, and starting to think through it. And you're going to want to think through it in terms of like the biographical information. I know you probably didn't ask them that stuff, but I know that you noticed. So you probably know like if they're old or young, if they're married or not, things like that maybe you gleaned from the interview or just from being around them. It's important to kind of write down that stuff and to think about it, because you might find out that some of the pain points are related to a certain biographical bit of information. And that's important to notice and to note, but sometimes we don't see those connections until it's written down. Same with their frustrations, the interactions and touch points, and the goals and motivations. So I'm thinking what we do is we create two breakout rooms for 10 minutes. And RJ, can you create one that's for work on interview questions? And then the other one is to organize data. I can do it if you need me to do it.
No, I got it. So I'm
And
just
then we'll let people pick. People are going to pick which room they want to be in for this one.
What was the other one? Organized questions, and the other one was?
One is organize the data. So that's where you're like looking at your notes, you're writing down biographical information, you're just making sure it's all in one place, kind of thinking through some of this stuff. And then the other room is for working on your questions. So if you need to do scheduling or you want to rework your questions, things like that. So I want to give 10 minutes to everyone to kind of have a working group, and you can discuss it with other people and in your breakout, and hopefully get some ideas. So, okay. So go ahead now. Is everyone clear what you're going to do in your breakouts? 10 minutes to work on stuff, whether it's organizing data or working on scheduling your questions or working on fixing them up. All right, so go ahead and pick which room.
Everyone's going to questions to organize.
I know. That's okay. Oh, Renard went to data. Okay. Linda, where are you off to?
I could uh, I'll join the data organization.
Okay. Ashley, what about you? What could you mostly use the 10 minutes for? Sounds like you're doing a great job on your question.
Maybe I'll do the organizing the data. Maybe the organizing
Yeah,
the
I
data.
think you probably all that you need to kind of sift through. So that sounds great. You want me to put you in there? Or you got it.
How do I get in there?
I can do it.
I'll put you in there. Hang on.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Did you
RJ,
wanna-
I'm going to go ahead and put you with the questions
Okay.
so that you can just help them as they're thinking through their questions, and also just encourage them to schedule interviews and do different things like that.
Okay.
And then Sean, I'm going to put you into the data organization. They should just be grabbing, putting stuff together,
Okay.
making sure got a little background.
So I closed the breakout room, but it seems like the other. What did I miss?
They're coming back. They usually have about 60 seconds to come back. It's
Oh,
fine.
that's okay. Okay. I'm like, did I do something wrong?
No, you're good. All right, it looks like we have everyone back. Was that helpful? Did you guys get some stuff done? I know it's kind of short, but did you get some good things accomplished in the 10 minutes? Or at least ask some questions? How'd it go?
We
Anybody
saw
in
World Hunger. It went fine.
Okay. All right, so we have some fun things later, so I'm gonna just kind of keep on going here. All right, so as you guys continue to do these interviews, it's going to be really important that you organize your information. And there's a number of different ways that you can organize your information. So we're going to show you some different tools to do that. One of the things you've seen before, which is this kind of framework of task, influences, feelings, pain points, and overall goals. So you can go question by question and divide this out. So, and see what those were, like what the tasks were related to the question, to a certain question, and then go through all your different people, or the feelings that were associated with that question that you asked. So you can start to organize and really get some common themes together based on this. There's other ways to do it as well. So this is the other empathy map that you guys saw previously. This one you can use too. This one's the think and feel, the see, say and do, the pain, gain, and hear. So you can start to organize your notes from your interviews according to this as well. And so that's just going to look like you're going to put little stickies. I don't know if the design kits have come to you yet, but you guys will have some different things that you can use. Pretty sure there's stickies in there, little Post-its. So it's really nice to use Post-its in this process because it allows you to sort of quickly move things if you need to. Say you put something in Think and Feel, and then you decided, that's not exactly where I want it to be. You can move it. And so it's much easier than marking up a piece of paper and crossing things out and moving it. So we really recommend that you use Post-its as you go through, especially for the upcoming information on affinity diagramming. So I'm going to give you guys a video to watch. And I know you prefer to do it in the chat rather than me sharing my screen. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link with you. On. All right. Here's the link for everyone to watch.
Did you send out the video yet?
I did. Did you not see it in the chat?
No. I'm just waiting. I'm like, something happening?
Did you guys get it? Did anyone else get it? It's in my chat.
I got
That's
it.
the weirdest thing. I don't know. You got it?
Skylar got it.
Everyone.
What
those in the video?
What? There was a lot of people talking just then. I didn't hear it. What it said.
So it's the Vimeo link that's in the chat. So
Katie, would you like me to play the video or you're good?
that would be great,
Um,
Wanda. Yeah, my computer seems to be choppy with the videos, and so everyone prefers just watching it. But yours, I know, does a great job. So if you don't mind, that would be awesome.
1 second.
I got it.
maybe it's just me, but I still didn't get it, so.
You have to look above RJ's comment at 7:20. It's a different time. It's 6:18. That's the time.
And now I can't hear the video, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Wanda, I can't hear it either.
I'll send it to you, Jatera.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still muted. Sorry, that was my fault.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about affinity clustering. It's a pretty big title for a pretty simple concept. Affinity clustering is sorting ideas by the ones that are more like each other than not. You know, it's like one of these things goes with another. It's sorting through a lot of stuff into piles or into groups. Why do we need to do this? In design thinking and innovation programs, you're constantly creating large lists of things. Customer complaints or pain points, customer quotes, ideas or concepts from a brainstorm. You could have a complete list of products in an industry, right? These large lists and our nature of creating them when we're working on an unstructured project is the reason we have all these sticky notes and why you see sticky notes all the time in design thinking and innovation projects. So affinity clustering is the first technique or method to start making sense out of those big long lists, okay? And our brains are kind of natural at grouping and clustering things when we're overwhelmed with too much stuff, okay? So how does affinity clustering work? It's a really, it's an intuitive heuristic type process. There's no, decision tree for making a decision. What you want to do is get a feel for separating these ideas into clusters or into different piles, okay? So you're going to have some activity, usually from a brainstorm, analysis of customer video. You'll have a large list of things, often on different sheets of paper. Now, this is another reason why we do lots of sticky notes, to keep things separate so they can be organized and sorted easily. You'll have this big list, and what you do is you pick up the first one and you ask, is this anything like that's already out here? And of course, you haven't placed any. So what do? You make that group one. The second one is either like that or it's different. All right, put it over there. Third one. Now, is it like I got 3 groups now. Oh, that one's definitely like that. Okay. That's how you get through it. And you do it with a group. And every once in a while, you'll be doing it and you're like, oh, those 2 are really different than those other ones. And it'll create a 4th group or a 5th group, right? So it's a imprecise process, but as you start to sort things, you get a feel for what these groups are. The next thing to do is don't label them group 1, group 2, group 3. Give them a name that actually means something that characterizes what those ideas or what those comments are about, what those individual elements are about. And try to pick ideas that make you remember that set of things, okay? Once you have that structure, now you have an ability to ask, well, are some of these better ideas than others? Is one of these areas or types of things a priority for us? Maybe we write down those 6 or 8 groups that come out of it and ask people to do a survey of which are the most important things for us to solve for first, right? So that structure allows you to start working on them in smaller batches, understand something about your problem or your challenge. I have an example here. Let me show you. Here's a real one. So this was a brainstorm on potential phrases for a Google AdWords campaign on a hiring platform that focuses on the skills the candidate has, not their resume. And so all the green notes are ideas for those ad campaigns. See the talent for yourself. Turn your text job posting into a compelling video profile, right? And so there's probably what, 30 or 40 of those green notes. And then, so those were just done all at once. And then the team kind of said, well, what are phrases that are more like each other? And so now the yellow notes are the names of those clusters. So this one's about guarantee. So not a lot of ideas in the guarantee. This is the other thing that a clustering allows you to do. It's like, wow, we didn't get many ideas in here, but I like that notion that the title of it, let's fill that out with 20 more ideas or 10 more ideas, right? And so you can kind of see where your ideas are. And then while you're naming things, somebody says, how come we don't have anything that's more about this or this idea? And you can open up a whole new category that you weren't thinking of before. So this is kind of like bottom up organizing that then you can go top down for action. So this is an example, just a process that happens over and over and over again in design thinking work. Okay. So this is a great way to find structure in any sort of qualitative data, right? Quantitative data sorts itself numerically, but qualitative data, quotes, ideas, how do you organize them? Lots of times you organize them by theme or group or characteristic. You can sort 10 or more things of anything. So again, look for opportunities in your work where you've created a large list of things to sort them and then get insight from that. And I've already gone over things you can organize: pain points, ideas, customer quotes, products, etc. Affinity clustering is a core method of design thinking because we're constantly trying to dimension and structure the very unstructured problem we're trying to solve. Give it a try and good luck with it.
All right, thank you very much, Wanda, and we will figure that out so that we can have them in the recordings in the future. Really appreciate that. All right, so we are going to kind of break down affinity clustering step by step, much like he talked about. I'll go ahead and share my screen again. All right. So the first step in affinity clustering is to generate the data items from notes, transcripts, videos, brainstorming. So you're going to look at your interview notes and you're going to take only one data item each for a sticky note. So it shouldn't be like 3 things on a sticky note. Just keep it to one thought per sticky note. It can be text, images, anything that you have from that interview or related information. So a lot of times, if you're if you're making sticky notes from your interviews, you're probably going to have a stack from the first interview and a stack from the second interview. We want you to shuffle that around. You don't want to think about them in that set anymore. We're going to reorganize them to find themes and to pull out that really quality information that's going to help us better understand our data and what the different pain points are and what the different information that we got from the interviews are. So go ahead and shuffle them. And then you're going to place them in, get a large area. And we're going to actually do this online in just a little bit. So you'll see you can use a digital tool to do this as well with the little digital stickies, or you can do it with actual sticky notes and a big table. But you need a large area to really be able to do this. And you keep in mind that, you know, if you're doing this with someone else, that you want to kind of manage the dynamic a little bit as well. So, and I know most of you are doing this affinity clustering on your own. So then what will happen with affinity clustering is that you're going to organize it into groups that go together, that are similar in some way. And you're going to start to sort them out, just like you said in the video. And you might realize that something is maybe in the wrong place, and it's okay to move it. And that's why we have those different sticky notes, so that they're easy to move. And it's, you know, you're going to go through and you're going to sort them all until they're all sorted out. Now you might find that you have some large groups, and those large groups, if it's like 10 or 12 or larger, you're going to want to break into smaller subgroups. So don't let it get, you know, we don't want to end up with 2 themes. We want to really break it down and understand it, and understand what the data is telling us. So it's important too, to, as you're kind of creating these groups, to really be open to how they're grouping themselves. You might discover themes that you didn't expect in the process. So it's okay to have a group kind of naturally form that you didn't think was going to be there. That's the point of this, is we want to really understand what's in your data. And so you're going to label each group and the subgroups, and then you're going to review it, so that everyone kind of understands why you've named it, what you have, so that everyone in your team is on the same page. And you're going to prioritize those groups. So you're going to take, and like I said, we're going to do this together later. You're going to look at the ones that have the most in them, and look at the ones who have the least, and you're going to give it different priorities. You also might find one that's either an outlier, or it's something that, and so, you know, it might not be that important, or it might spur some extra like research and digging into it. And so pay attention to those little guys that kind of don't have a group that they belong to as well. And then you're going to want to, let's see, you're going to want to use these groups to help you make decisions as you go forward. So it's really important to organize and to get it in the right place. This affinity diagramming exercise, I am going to, Wanda, would you mind explaining this one for everyone?
Sure. Let me get my mouse out of the way. Yeah. So what we're going to do.
Thank
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me? All right, cool. What we'll do, maybe what might be best, instead of going into this exercise, is going straight into everyone kind of giving it a try themselves. And then we'll come back to this exercise. I think that might be a way to get it to solidify a little bit more.
All right, so we'll just jump straight into Miro.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, so I'm going to share a link in the chat with everyone, and you are going to sign up for Miro. Now, this is a tool that can be used for brainstorming. As you've seen before, we use lots of different tools in this program. We want to introduce you to different things that you can use in this business or in future businesses. So this is one of them. I'm pretty sure Wanda uses it with her teams, and it's great for this exercise. You don't have to get that huge table. You can use a digital platform to do that. So
Most
I
of
am
you
going
received
to.
email from Miro. We added everyone to the class to Miro team. So you should have received an email to create your account. I think I see most people in here signed up, and that just kind of expedite this process. And once they sign up, Katie, you can still send them the link to the board, the shared board.
There's a part here where
All
it says, welcome to your team. It says, what is your role and have you ever used visual tools? That's where I'm at. What would be my role?
Your role would be a member.
Just, I'll just put other because it really doesn't have a place there for member.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, so I've gone ahead and put the link in the chat that will take you directly to the board once you've signed up. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see what that looks like. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
All right, great. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through and do an example of where we talk about the barriers to eating healthy. So we're going to just think of different reasons for that people might have a barrier to eating healthy. And you all should be able to click on a sticky note and add a thought. I'm going to start us out here. Okay, so what's one barrier for to people eating healthy?
Knowledge about how to eat.
Knowledge?
Yes.
Discipline.
Discipline. Yes, lots of us have that knowledge, but we don't have the discipline.
Lack of time.
Okay, so I am a slow typer, but luckily, because we're using Miro, you guys can go in and add your own to stickies. So what you're going to do is you're just going to find a sticky, you're going to click on it, and you're going to start typing. We are going for quantity, not quality here. So please add as many as you can think of reasons, barriers that keep people from eating healthy.
Okay, so
I see lack of money.
How do I click on it? What do I do to click?
Okay, so I'm going to click on one really quickly, and then you can see my screen here. It turns in, once you kind of double click on it, it turns into the little thing where you can type on it, and then you just start typing.
Am I doing that on the Zoom screen or am I doing that in the Miro?
You're doing that in Miro, So I'm seeing some great ones. Affordability, money, lack of money, cravings for sugar. Oh, cravings is a good one. Lack of support from friends. Love that. That's all right. How's everyone doing on this? Is everyone able to add a sticky? Has everyone got the hang of it?
I'm not in the right, I haven't signed in yet. Does that make a difference? I mean,
So you
I
should be able to use
okay.
that link. If you could sign in, that would be great. That's ideal, because then see, we can see people's names on here.
Yes,
And Wanda set it up so everyone could have an account.
I think I signed in, but I just don't know how to get to it right now. But I'll
So
work on
once
it.
you've signed in, use the link that I put in the chat and just click on that.
Okay, thank you.
Picky eater, proper cooking wear. These are great. Lack of access, transportation. You guys are doing great. Going. Healthy recipes, not knowing how to cook. These are awesome. Remember, we're going quantity, not quality here. So self-control, just don't care. Lazy. Yep. And I have mine pretty zoomed in. However, there are lots of stickies, as you guys have found. Look at you go. This is great. Okay. Let's fill in a few more here. Let's try to get them all if possible. Or at least all the yellow ones. The lack of confidence. Oh. Food texture. Yep. I guess that could keep someone from. It's interesting. I don't know that I would have picked that. But this is kind of a good example of why we do our interviews, because some people, even though we think we know certain things about their problems that they're facing or why they do what they do, we don't truly know. So we can still be surprised. So it's so important to listen and to ask those questions. Boredom, relationships with food, eating disorder, don't have a big enough why, a lack of time, transportation. This is great, you guys. You guys are going strong here. Food allergies. All right. We don't have that many more to go. All right. Let's pause for a second. You guys have done great. I'm gonna save a couple so that I have little header sticky notes eventually. Okay. So what we're gonna do now, so we took and we created each sticky with one data point. So that was our step number one. So you guys did an awesome job there. And we are going to now, and we shuffled it up. So let's say that this is, from your interview notes, you're going to shuffle up those stickies so that it's not all of one person's right next to each other. Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start that grouping process. So let's go ahead and let's create a title that is of a group that's called financial. I'm gonna put it over here. And
You could do the
let me zoom
titles
in a little bit.
afterwards, too, if that's easier. Just do the groupings and then let them decide, let the clusters decide on their own titles.
Right. That sounds great. Yeah, I like that. So I've done this in the past where I made up fake little titles, which were like a circle and a star. And then I just organized it according to what made sense for the different groups. So let's start in and let's start to group things together. So let's put in here, let's put lack of money under this one. What is similar? Is there another one that's similar to lack of money?
Resources,
Or we can go ahead.
affordability.
Okay, let's see. Cost. Okay, let's do the next one where we are, let's see, lack of support from family. That's different than lack of money. So, I mean, it could be a lack of money, that's financial support, but we'll assume that this is more of emotional support. So does lack of support from friends go in the same group? What do you guys think? Is that a
No.
similar feel?
No.
No, it doesn't go in the same group. It goes in a different one.
I think family, the lack of support from family and friends go in the same group.
They go in the same. Yeah, I thought you meant money was in the same one.
Oh, okay. No, same group. Okay. What about boredom eating? Does this go in either this money one and cost or this lack of support one, or does it belong to its own?
That's yourself. Yeah, it should be its own.
All right.
You say boredom eating?
What about that? Yep, there's one in there for boredom eating. All right. What about not knowing how to cook? Does that go in this first one?
No, that's its own group.
Its own group. Okay, so I want you. So then, what about?
Can we distinguish the subgroups first?
What was that?
I say, can we distinguish the headers first, and then we can group them up?
The challenge with
I'm
that,
sorry, I still didn't.
when I was asking, can we decide on the subgroups first and then group them up? The challenge with that, Rena, is that sometimes it limits our imagination, I guess is the best way to describe it. So by grouping things and then deciding on the headers, you let the groups define themselves as opposed to trying to fit things under a heading, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes we want to allow the data to kind of speak for itself and to sometimes surprise us. And if we go in with these preconceived notions of what those groups are, we're not necessarily allowing it to do that. So I see people organizing, keep organizing. Let's just get all of them in a group and we can create some new headers if we need them. I don't know if we do. So if you want to create a new sticky note, you can do it that way. Just click on they're going down. This is great.
Is everyone able to access it? It doesn't look like everyone is in the Miro.
I'm not in there
I
moving
see.
anything.
Yeah, and I think Diana's working, so I'm not sure if she is
Okay.
participating, but it looks like everyone else.
I don't
Oh.
see my name tag up there, but I'm moving things around and I did make a card, so maybe
Yeah.
my registration is not complete yet.
No,
Yeah,
we
Uh,
name
questions.
Linda. We see your name.
I see your name, Linda.
Oh, see, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, there's up there. Oh.
All right. You guys are doing great here. All right.
Paul, are you good?
So looks like we've got some groups going. Some we might need to break down into some subgroups. We've got quite a few in some of these. So let's go through and let's see what we have here. So, okay, I'm going to start with this kind of red one. We have motivation, boredom eating, lack of confidence, self-control, willpower, eating disorder, cravings for sugar, food addiction, relationships with foods, hard to stay consistent, love trying new things, and high stress and lack of sleep and discipline. And don't have a big enough why. All right, so that's one group. We're gonna, you guys think we should, if you guys had to break it out, there's kind of, to me, I see some natural, kind of a natural break. What do you think? Are you guys, you had to break it into a subgroup, because this is probably a little too many here for us.
And if there's some
Everyone's
redundant,
flying around.
maybe we can remove some of the
So,
redundancy.
Actually, when there's
so the
redundancy.
redundancy,
Oh, sorry, Katie, go ahead. Mhm.
it's okay. Yeah, the redundancy is important to note because that shows us that that's something that kept showing up, and that's a good bit of data as well. So if you start seeing something more frequently, you want to make sure to capture that. So don't just like toss the sticky because it's a redundant one. Make sure you keep it, make sure you note it, because that's an important bit of information. Wanda, do you have more to add on that?
Nope, you said it. Well, the only thing I would add, when you have redundant, you just stack it. So if you have like time twice, then you just stack it on top of each other. But what Katie said is exactly what I was thinking.
And you can have redundancy that's like maybe it's just a slightly different way of saying it, but you're saying the same thing. So you have to be careful there because sometimes there is a variation, but other times it is pretty much the same thing. So if it's the same thing, you can go ahead and stack it, even if it's a little bit a different word. But if there's a variation in the meaning, I would say don't stack it. All right, so I'm gonna kind of let's look at this blue one. So lack of support from family, lack of support from friends, generational eating habits passed down, with home can't agree on what to eat.
Within home.
Okay.
Like who's cooking,
Within
with
home.
who's eating, may not agree.
Okay. So this is an interesting group. We're going to go back in a minute and start to name some of these, but I want to just visit them first. All right, here's this big old pinkish one. So this is access to places to buy healthy food, lack of money, cost, affordability. So I'm going to put money and lack of money on top of each other. Then affordability, cost, resources, transportation, no access to quality cooking appliance, convenience or lack thereof. Let's put those two on top of each other. I'll stack them so you can actually see that there's multiple in there. Okay. Lack of time, and then time we have, again, we have lack of sleep, prefer convenience snacking over meals, lack of access, healthy is expensive, lack of time. Lack of time is another one here. We're gonna stack that. I'm watching stickies disappear. Skylar. I have full faith. I just don't know where they're going. Okay.
I moved it over because there was not planning meals to prefer convenient snacking over meals. So I thought they were similar. So I put them in the orange column. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. All right. So transportation, healthy is expensive. So here's one, the lack of access and no access to quality cooking appliances. Should those be stacked? There's a question for you guys. Do you think that those should be stacked?
You said lack of access, and then no access to quality cooking appliances. I'm sorry, is that the two that you asked about?
Yep,
I think
should
that
those
they
be-
both have, they both are speaking about access, but one is actually speaking of cooking supplies. The other one is speaking about like actual places to go and purchase the food. So I don't think that they should be stacked. I think that like the places where you go and buy the food should be kind of like stacked maybe with like the resources, I'm thinking.
When you say stacked, do you mean like they're duplicated, they're the same thing? Or do you mean like stacked within the same column?
I mean stacked as in like a redundancy.
Oh, okay.
When I kind of use grouped for when it goes into a column, and then stacked when it's redundant.
I think they're just.
I would
they're
agree with
different.
that.
I said I think they're different.
I think they're different too. I think lack of access and no access to quality cooking appliances is different. And I wanted to bring that one up because it's kind of related, but it is different. So it's important not to stack things just because they're kind of close. It's important to think through the finer points of them when we're stacking. All right. I'm going to head over to the orange row. Not knowing how to cook, proper cookware, boredom eating, convenience, knowledge about what healthy means, picky eater, don't know how, not planning meals, prefers convenient snacking meals. All right. Then we have this blue one down here, food allergies, hard to stay consistent. Green one, food desert. Healthy recipes, food texture, just don't care, diet restrictions, healthy foods just don't taste as good, finding recipes that make vegetables taste better. Okay, so let's take one of our small ones and let's try to give it a title, because we're going to try to give some of these, we're going to try to pull out the themes now, and we might need to move some to clean it up, but we'll use the majority, what the theme kind of is from the group, to give it a label. And for the big ones, we're going to separate them out. So I'm going to start with this tiny blue group. Who wants to come up with a title for it? We have lack of support from family, lack of support from friends, generational eating habits passed down, and within a home can't agree on what to eat.
Environmental factors, maybe environmental or yeah, environmental, I think, or social.
I kind of like social on that one more than environmental, because environmental could be like location and stuff too. Skylar, what are you thinking?
I think social is a good one as well. I wrote community in the chat, so I don't know whichever of those two. I feel like they're very similar.
Okay. I'm gonna do a hybrid here. All right, so all those are gonna stick together. And you can zoom out and kind of get an idea of things. Let's do this green one next. Let's see if we can come up for a title for this one. Okay, so we have food desert, healthy recipes, food texture, just don't care, diet restrictions, healthy food just don't taste as good, finding recipes that make vegetables taste better. All right. What do we want to name this one? And what is, when we're looking at the overall theme of the group? Now, there may be some that we're going to pull out, but what's the theme of this group? Why do people group these together?
I'd say attitude.
Attitude. Anyone else? That's interesting. Because it just don't care, and healthy foods don't taste good.
I would say
Okay.
mindset.
Okay. That's good.
You would say mindset. Okay.
I said taste.
Taste. All right. So this is interesting because there's a lot of different takes on this one that we could do. And I think people are pulling different things out and different things together. So why don't we separate this a little further so it's a little more consistent with the theme? So let's go with the mindset one. Let's try mindset. So I'm going to go ahead and break this one down, and I'm going to say mindset. Which ones stay under mindset? A food desert typically is about access to quality food. So that's not really, when we're talking about food deserts, and I know that that's a term that you may not have encountered before, and that's absolutely fine. But typically a food desert is an area or that is related, that doesn't have access to quality food and quality ingredients of nutritional value. And so it's a food desert. It's, where think of a desert with a lack of water. It's like a lack of quality food and nutrition. Okay, so mindset.
Are we
Healthy
able?
recipes.
Are we able to put the
What?
motivation? Are we able to move the motivation and the willpower, self-control, all of that into the mindset? Since we're refining it a little bit, or okay.
Yep. So how is healthy recipes mindset? Anybody?
I'm assuming because I'm assuming because if you have to make a decision to eat healthy, then the something that would be a part of the mindset is looking for healthy recipes. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just giving a guess.
So I don't know who created healthy recipes, but if you come across something in this process that you're like, I just don't know, you might want to look back at your notes for some context to see if that can help you for clues as to what they were really meaning. So when I read healthy recipes, what I thought was more about knowledge than a mindset, than like mindset or attitude. So for mindset, we could do, I would pull healthy recipes out. Do you guys agree with me? Yes, no, maybe so?
Okay, I actually.
Yes, you can take it off.
I think you can take it off. I wrote healthy recipes, and it was more of it wasn't the mindset of it, but like you said, it was just having the access or knowledge about what is a healthy recipe, like what does that look like?
And that is a big
Okay.
deal.
So I would say that this is closer to not knowing how to cook. I'm not sure what this column over here is yet, but that's kind of one that I would maybe stick together. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes, and what
Okay.
about
Mine-
diet restrictions? I think that diet restrictions, that's not a part of a mindset. That's more of a
Yeah.
health.
I feel a little bad putting that under diet restrictions because that's usually not necessarily a mindset, but that's more of a medical thing. I think we had something about allergies in here. Food allergies are down here. So let's pull food allergies and diet restrictions together. And let's put this nice blue one over here. And then, so as you can see, it can take a while to finesse these and to get them in their right groups. You want to end up with groups that you don't want groups that are larger than, like if you get a group of 10 or 12, you need to break that, or more, you need to break that down into subgroups. So for the sake of time, I am going to, oh wow, time flew. Okay. I wanted to give you guys time to do this for yourself, but we're not going to have time to do that today. I apologize, but your homework is going to be taking your data points and putting them as an individual data point on each sticky, and then organizing them and clumping them together and coming up with your themes. So don't do large groups, break those down into subgroups, and let the groups kind of speak for themselves so that you get those labels. So does anyone have questions about this as we've kind of been doing it together, and how you're gonna be able to do it for your own?
I did have one question actually. So if I only am able to say by the time that we start constructing and like submitting our homework, have interviewed 5 people, is it okay to obviously not have as many sticky notes, but like a third of the sticky notes here? Like what would you consider to be a sufficient amount, I guess?
I would say, we want you to do at least 10 interviews. And normally, I think I've said this before, but that the rule of thumb for most of these types of programs is 100 interviews. We're not asking you to do that. But we also realize that this is kind of an accelerated program, and you probably haven't had the chance to do all 10 of your interviews yet. So go ahead and break down the interviews that you have done. And then as you continue to have those interviews, break those down and put them into your thing. Now, you will notice that maybe they need to be regrouped, and that's okay. This should not be something that's static. This should be something that helps you understand your thoughts and understand those themes that are coming out of it. So you can really define the problem and define the themes of the problem. Did that answer the question, Skylar?
Yeah, that answered the question.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can I interject something, Katie?
Of course.
So in the beginning, we kind of went through the process of defining the problems, and Katie might have already covered this. I just want to drive the point home. Defining the problem from the way that you see it and understand it. And we do that essentially so that you get your thoughts together, because sometimes we have a roundabout way of seeing the problem and just kind of really focusing us to kind of hone in on Remember, we started off with what's going on and the why. So remember, John can't read. What is John's goals? All that type of stuff. So what this step is, or this process is really important because now you're defining the problem. And this is where design thinking really starts. You're defining the problem from your understanding of your user. And so this is replacing that original problem statement that we had, and this is creating a new problem statement. And what the affinity diagramming piece of it is, or clustering piece of it is getting you to hone in. Because the thing is, when you interview people, they have lots of problems and you cannot create a solution to solve all of their problems. But what this gives you a way is to hone in on, for the audience, the particular audience that you are focusing on, for that key user, what is the big problems, right? What are the two, maybe three? Two is probably safer. Problems that there is a reoccurring theme. So when you look at, when you do your affinity clustering and you do your and you break them down and you look at what are the clusters that you see the kind of a reoccurring theme, right? You have, you know, multiples of one. You have like, that's the cluster that makes the most sense to kind of hang your hat on. Where even at some point in time, your solution, you wanted to address, you know, several of these clusters. But if you were to pick your top two and you say, okay, the problem I'm solving is these two clusters, right? That is kind of what this is to, is really to kind of give you a way to narrow your focus based upon what your users are saying, not about you, not about your original thoughts, right? And so your original thoughts was kind of based off of the research and the things that you're seeing. Now you've talked to the people who are living the problem. And if you're saying, hey, I'm trying to solve the problem of barrier entry, and you came in thinking, well, the barrier of entry, I'm sorry, the barrier of people eating healthy is because, you know, that they live in a food desert. But when you do your clustering, you realize the issue is really mindset. That's where you need to shift your focus. And that doesn't mean you don't address food desert, but the big issue is mindset. Because if you don't address that, then you're not really solving the problem that your users need, right? And so that's kind of what you're looking through. And so there isn't a right number to amount of stickies, but look at the interviews, and that's why the interviews are so important, that we don't do like survey questions, because people say a lot when they don't think that they're saying much, right? And so you're paying attention to, you know, the positive, the negatives, the gains, the pains, all those things that they're saying, and you're pulling that out and you're putting into your clusters. It's like, and what are they really saying? So when you interview your 5, your 10, your 30 people collectively, what are the things that you keep hearing over and over and over again? That has to be part of your solution, or you're not really solving a problem. I'll shut up now.
That was awesome. Thank you, Wanda. No, I really appreciate that. We went into some of those points, but we definitely did not cover a large portion of that. So I really appreciate those. Did that make sense to everyone as to why we're doing this, and the reason why it's important to look at your data in this way?
Yes.
Yeah, and like Wanda said, you know, we walk into to scenarios with an idea about what the problem is, an idea about what the solution should be. But design thinking really lets us step back and listen and solve the problem that our customers are feeling and seeing and thinking and experiencing. And it's really important to do that so that you know that you're actually creating something for someone, not just for yourself, that you're meeting a need that people are having. And I absolutely agree with what Wanda said. They will tell you a million different needs that they have and problems that they have. It's important to hone in on those top 2 or 3, but you know, and really focus your attention there, because that's where there's the greatest need. So like Ashley, I'm sure you are going to get a boatload of different things, and really everyone is, you're going to get so many different things that you hear from people. But really, what are the big things that you can solve? And you know, if it's like world hunger, it's probably, you know, that's not really where we're going. We gotta narrow it down to something achievable that you can solve with your designs and within your business. So we're looking for those themes to really design around. Because soon we will be designing, we will be going into that ideate phase, which is very exciting, but we have to make sure that we've defined the problem first. All right, so is everyone clear on the homework for this week? That you're gonna be doing this and you'll submit it to us. Yes, yes. So you'll take your interview data from this that you collected so far, and you'll go through, you'll organize it, you'll give it themes and titles, and then you'll send it to us. I'm very curious to see what everyone comes up with and what you've discovered in your interviews and in your organization process. So for these last 8 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and just give you a few minutes to start your own board. Just start, like, get over that little hump of starting it and put a few stickies down for your business. So start a new board, and if anyone has questions, Wanda is our Miro expert. And so I want to make sure that you guys can create your own boards and get going.
Does everyone know how to start their own boards?
No, I was just getting on Miro trying to figure it out. So I don't know how to start my own board.
Katie, can you go to that slide that shows the template link and they could just start it from the template?
Sure. So
Do you need me to pull it up?
I actually don't see that slide, Wanda. I see the Miro sign in and then the sign in continued.
So it'll be the first or second slide in the slide deck.
Ah. I don't see it there either. Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, everyone. This is I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the chat for everyone, but this is the link that you're gonna want to use. And that'll start you off on using the template, the clean template. Can everyone see that in the chat?
The chat has been acting funny, so you might need to scroll up if you don't see it from her.
I wonder what's going on with that. Is it putting the wrong time? Is that what's happening, RJ?
Yeah, so on my end, I'm like chatting with members of the group, so I really can't tell exactly, but the timing definitely was off earlier. And for me, I had to kind of like go through my messages with everyone else to find yours. This one right now that you just posted, I haven't seen it. So I don't know if anybody else got it, but it hasn't showed up at all.
I have
RJ,
it on mine.
Have it? Okay.
Yeah, someone who has it on the bottom of theirs just post it again for us. I don't know why my chat's being strange
I had
today.
to scroll up because it went like, I don't know, it was different. But I knew that from the last time I had to go up, so.
Okay, let me know. Is everyone? It's now in there in the chat. We have multiple people that posted it. Thank you very much. Is everyone able to get a clean board started? Wanda is sharing her screen. Great, thank you, Wanda. So you'll want to click on use the template. Okay, can I get a thumbs up or a nod from everyone who has a clean board? And
How do we save it? Are we supposed to save it too? In order to take a picture of it to send to you?
Good question. I can
so
demonstrate.
that's a great question. Yeah, thank you, Wanda.
Sorry, I'm in the wrong email, so I will have to use the one that we had before. 'cause
I think they automatically save. So if you click on the little micro, like, logo in the top left-hand corner, it'll bring you back to all of the things that you are shared with. And so you'll see like the one that we just worked on, which is called the Edit Affinity example, and then a bunch of other templates and examples that people have created. And I guess whichever ones have your initials are the ones that is yours, if that makes any sense.
What is,
When it comes to sharing it after you finish your boards, thank you, Skylar. At the top, as Skylar mentioned, you click on export this board and you can save it as a PDF. And you can, it'll ask you to create a frame. So you can kind of frame which of these that you want in there. So you can zoom out sorry, that's not what I want to do. Let me get it closer. Create, or you can actually save it as an image too. And you basically just put the part that is of your image that includes all of your post-its, and you just export it, and that you can send that in. So you could that's probably the fastest way to send that in as your assignment once you complete it.
All right, these are great questions. Any other questions while we're all here? All right, so if there's no more questions, we're going to shut it down for the night. But thank you all and good luck with organizing. We're very excited to see what comes out of it. If you have any questions at all, reach out to RJ and we will try to get you the answers, and she'll shuffle you to the right person or answer them herself. So yeah, if you discover any like trouble along the way with Miro, or just you get confused about how to do it once you're kind of off on your own organizing, don't feel bad about reaching out. We're here to support you and help. So thank you all and have a wonderful night.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.